Hey, welcome back to another episode of Talking Shit ATL. Listen, we had that same problem the last time. The last time I did, it did the same thing. It was like lagging for both of us, but I think we caught it better last time. So this time you got to do it separate, and then we can dub it in post, and we'll put it together like we both said it.
Well, here, let's try it one more time, okay? Ready? And when I get to three, then we'll start, right? So
Okay.
you see this as one, you see two.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Talking Shit ATL. And I'm Prodigy Q.
Hey, and here we are going to talk about allies today, and allies specifically to the LGBTQ community because there are many different allies for many different causes, and I want to kind of go over what an ally is in general, the definition of allies, and then we'll get into the history. So, cool. Do you have anything you want to say before we start? I'm hearing myself echo.
I mean, and you probably will because
No, but I didn't before. Whatever you
um,
just did the last
I
10
didn't do it.
minutes.
I didn't do anything. But I didn't hear I didn't hear your introduction at all come through my side. But then when you started talking the rest, that I heard that. So I don't know.
Did you change anything? Did you put it like. Okay, well,
No.
I hate that. I'm not going to be able to concentrate. Hold on. Let me see if it sounds better. Talk a little bit now. How does it sound? Does it sound better?
Okay, so go again.
Do I sound better?
I mean, I hear you. Yeah.
Okay. I
Do
don't
you
know
still
why
got?
sometimes it's echoing and sometimes it isn't. I
You
feel
still
like
got an echo?
yeah, now I do. And sounds like I don't know if you turned it up on your side.
I didn't do anything. Like literally nothing. I didn't touch nothing. I didn't change nothing.
Yeah.
Um.
Um, I don't know. Oh, but just by the way, we definitely got to make sure we post it to our page afterwards. I think that's the key, is posting it to our page afterwards. Um, okay, well, it's better without the headphones on, so I'm just going to do that. Even though my audio ADHD helps me with the headphones in, it's fine. So Uh, put it in the comments as I'm saying this because otherwise we're going to give you the answer. There is one of us in this group who is LGBTQ and one of us who is a straight ally. So guess who's going to? No, it's really hard to tell. It's super hard based on everything we do and say and the way
Very
we're
much like
dressed.
50 chance we get it wrong.
Yeah. Okay, you ready? About to give you the answer. So I'm straight. No, I can
And I
never really get through it without
and
laughing.
I had it on
Okay.
mute.
Huh?
I was trying to mute it at the same time, like whenever you talk that way, it might help not echo.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't doing that in the beginning of the call, and then all of a sudden it started after we did our intro.
Yeah, I'm just kind of going back and forth between muting. Hopefully it helps,
And
but
then
yes.
maybe we can edit this out. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It'll all be in post. Um, but yeah. So my joke didn't really land. So you're talking about muting, whatever. I'm the gay one. Or mostly gay, like I like to say. So I'm pan, which means I really don't care about gender. It's just about the person for me. And then
And then
Mr. Q over here.
I am straight. I am an ally for sure. All
Yeah,
the things, you
for
know.
sure. For
Yeah.
sure. And there's been like definitely moments where you've expressed like that allyship for me and I appreciate that and like throughout our friendship and I always know you're down to like rock with whatever. Like you don't like treat people differently based on sexuality. But I do want to shout out you and Will who has been on our podcast before. Both of y'all are my I don't have many straight friends, but
Yeah,
the ones I do are allies. Y'all
for
are
sure.
the straight
Yeah, yeah.
allies. And then I do appreciate um, you know, that 27th birthday where it was like 27 dresses and people I asked everybody to dress up in dresses, and then Buck surprised me by coming down and being like, okay, Q, I know you don't have a dress right now, but we're
Right.
gonna make you a
He got me
dress.
together. That's right. He got me right.
And I
He
appreciate
came,
that
I
so
mean,
much.
came through in the clutch for sure.
Uh-huh.
It was a great time, great time. And I
Yeah.
have friends across like on all spectrums. You know, again, I mean, again, believe like allyship and just like genuine people.
Yeah.
Despite again, like you said, sexuality or what they kind of believe in and those kind of things.
Right.
So I mean, I just enjoy the people that love me. I love them back.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. So, and I think that there's of course ways to like say do that. And again, I don't know if we want to kind of give those facts of things first, and then kind of go into you
Yeah,
know.
with I have like the definition, how to be an ally, history of ally, and throughout history and stuff. And also, just to clarify, not that I don't have like the reason that I don't have a lot of straight friends or whatever isn't because like there's that I'm trying to really. It's just like I'm just an artist, and typically in art forms, that's harder to find. And then also beyond that, like it's really important to me that my friends have the same views on um like human rights and fighting for people and being allies for people, for all people. And so I've just ended up with the amazing friends that I do have. And I think most people in the world, whether they admit it or not, are at least a little bit gay, like just a teeny bit. So yeah, I feel like it's harder to find straight people.
That's what the rumors say.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
but but straight people who believe that all love matters and all people matter, I love you back. Like I welcome you. I love you. And I'm never gonna not be friends with someone because of their sexuality either. So I want to make that very clear as well. It just so happened to be that I don't have a lot who are 100% straight. Um, but um, so, an ally is someone who supports and advocates for marginalized groups, even if they are not a part of that group themselves. So, they use their privilege and influence to promote equity and inclusion, often by standing up against discrimination and supporting diversity initiatives. So, like we already said, an ally isn't just LGBTQ, but since it is Pride Month, we forgot to say that happy
Yeah,
Pride
I thought we did.
Month.
Happy Pride, Happy Pride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But since it is Pride Month, we're going to strictly talk about LGBTQ tonight. Um, so yeah, and then did you want to say something about that, or how to be an ally, or which part did you have something?
No, I think let's go to how to be an ally, and then we'll kind of
Okay.
go from there.
Okay, so I do have some do's and don'ts. This comes from uis.edu, and this is the do's and don'ts for straight allies. So do listen to what the person is saying and let them have the tone of the conversation. If someone's coming out to you, or even if they're not coming out in general, but they're coming out to you, they're just relaying that information to you. Don't interrupt them, don't rush them, like just openly listen, and don't try to finish their sentences. Just listen to them. Ask appropriate, sentences, and think about how many or questions. Think about how close you are, how many personal details you've shared in the past. Like, also if it unless that is appropriate to your relationship, it's not appropriate to get into details of their sexual life and sexual experience, like asking if they're a top or a bottom, their HIV status. And also just the do's and don'ts. I'm just gonna keep on rolling. Do's and don'ts. Don't answer someone if they're like, I'm LGBTQ, be like, duh, I knew it. Just wait for you to get your shit together. Because you don't want to shame someone for waiting so long to tell you. It's hard to exist sometimes in this like feeling like, you know, you are you're just scared of like, or at least I'll speak from personal experience. It's just scary to tell people because you don't know what the reaction is going to be, and then once it's out, then there's a chance that everyone's going to know, and that's just scary, and anything's possible. So hey Lauren, what's up? Some dues, ask it, if everyone know, like if they have told other people or just you, and if you would like this to stay in confidence. So if the person's going isn't going public, then just make sure they know they can trust you and just reassure them. And don't take it personally and assume that this person is telling you because they have a crush on you. Okay. That's like, it feels weird to come out to someone and feel like you have to say, and I don't like you like that. Like that just feels weird. So just maybe
Right.
don't assume it. um and or unsolicited advice, or make rash decisions. Just thank you for trusting you, thank them for trusting you, and thank yourself for being there. I guess that's cool too. And then treat them the same as you've always treated them. Like you don't have to change who you are in your relationship because they told you this, or don't tell them that they should go to counseling because I'm sure they've been thinking and dealing with it for a while. They don't need your input on that.
That is
Thank you.
crazy.
I know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You should really get therapy about that.
Right, right. You just got to talk to somebody. You
Not just
sure?
me. You should talk to someone professional about
Right.
this, okay? And I mean, literally, it was last within the last 100 years, people who are were gay or lesbian, because that was really the only terms that were like out then. There were transgender people, but people didn't talk about it as much as they did gay and lesbian, which they barely talked about in general. But anyone in the LGBTQ community that was found out to be in the LGBTQ community were sent to insane asylums. So it is also triggering if you were like, you should talk to a
Right.
therapist because it feels like you're trying to put me in an insane asylum for just loving someone differently than how you love someone. Um, so that's a little bit on how to be an ally. Um, what else do you think before we move on, Q? What other ways do you think you could be an ally?
Yeah, I think a lot of things that you definitely mentioned. There's definitely like the things to do, like definitely make people feel heard, understood, welcome. So again with the same thing. I've had experiences where people have come out to me in different ways. Now sometimes in those ways it has actually turned into I kind of like you too, and it's like you know what I mean. But
Yeah,
but I think in that as being an ally, I think that's if you are straight or identify being heterosexual or whatever, somebody does come out again like not doing those things. But and again, just establishing that hey, I follow you in your journey. I accept you for what you are. And then kind of just reaffirm, hey, what I'm saying, like I'm for you, but unfortunately, whatever the case may be, I am, heterosexual, and then kind of just stand in that. And then normally, like, no one's ever been like,
yeah,
any type of way, or it's been again awkward or weird. But I mean, of course, the worst they do is blow up and oh my god, how what I'm saying, all these things. That's definitely like not the way to handle that. I've always just handled like again with love and just affirm that hey, I can't be with you in that capacity, but I can still be your friend. I will be your friend. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
and again, of course, the biggest thing I think is not making it weird or awkward. I think that sometimes when it comes to, kind of identifying people based off of, because again, if you not sure, you're friends with somebody who, because again, I'm the type of person where I don't never want to speculate or expect or anything, again, until you come to me and you say, hey, I'm just, regardless if, sometimes you can ward out, certain tales of things, but still, again, I don't never cross that line or be like, hey, are you, I wait until they come to me and say, hey, this, that, and the third, and to try to, of course, give my friends a place where they are open and can talk to me, so that when they do get that courage to do so, then they don't feel, like it's not going to be a safe space, because I always
Yeah.
provided a safe space, even if it was, in that capacity. But again, if they do end up saying, okay, well, now I have these pronouns or whatever, then again, it's still the same respect. Well, okay, and even so, sometimes that is a little difficult for me, because sometimes I'm used to like calling people bro or this, that, those kind of things, just naturally or whatever. So a lot of times it is sometimes those being like, okay, well, I gotta, now I gotta address this way or that way. But again, like if it's not in ways of like, try to bring them down or belittle them in any way, like I said, as long as you do things with love, like that's the biggest thing I think when it comes to like ally. Again, just understand that people have human rights despite of like difference, because there are a lot of things that, within the community I personally don't agree with, but it's not going to be like those things where I'm a hold it against them, or and again, it's, even as an ally, like it's not my job to
You got to
convert
clarify
somebody.
that because people are going to speculate what you mean by you don't agree with.
I mean, I'm not going to go with like everything I don't agree with. There are some things,
Yeah, fair.
like, but I think when it just comes to like, just understanding that when it comes to a lot of things, we don't have to fully agree on everything. We have to fully agree on terms and a lot of things that really don't matter. Like again, like some people might argue, well, I don't believe in the pronoun stuff, and it's like, well, at the end of the day, again, when it comes down to somebody else and their happiness and what they're doing, like that's trivial. You know what I'm saying? Even if again,
Yeah.
like using as an example, even though I'm like, okay, I don't want to say use pronoun, but again, I'm still do it and address that person with respect. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not going to make those things into bridges that should divide us. Or again, we get in places where we can have dialogue about it. Because again, it could be things just complete ignorance. Again, as an ally, because again, I don't know for sure. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well,
I
I
don't.
mean, I think even what you just said a second ago also goes down to the individual where it's like that you don't have to, that you can't use the term bro and like dude and stuff like that. That is like up to an individual conversation because someone who like is a trans female and goes by she, her might be cool with being called dude and bro. Cause to me, as like a cis female, dude and bro to me is gender neutral, but it might not be to all people. So like that's up to like the individual person. Like really you can have that conversation with them. If you want to be safe, you can just like stop using that. But I think it's a really good conversation to have with your friends who are coming out as trans to like see what they consider gender neutral or not, because it just opens up your horizons to how people are thinking, and then you get to see that it's different person to person. It's not like all trans men think the same or all trans women think the same, just like it's not all cis men think the same and all cis women think the same, you know? So it's a very like individual conversation. And obviously, let's not forget, not all non-binary people think the same. Like, let's
Right,
not
right,
forget
right,
them as well.
right,
So yeah, I think it's like good to have that individual conversation with somebody. And even if it's like the pronouns things get brought up a lot of like, even if I personally don't understand why it is that big of a deal to like change and like change that rhetoric for yourself if it's something that like someone else identifies with and will make them feel more happy and comfortable. But if that is something that's uncomfortable like for the individual, then they can refer to their name and just not use any pronouns. Like it's still
Mhm.
taking a step in the respect and respecting who they are with not saying like using the completely different pronouns, like if
Right,
my pronouns were he him instead of she her, like it it would feel disrespectful to use she her instead of he him, but it wouldn't feel disrespectful to call me my name versus using a pronoun
right,
because I don't know why you're doing that. I don't know, whatever. I still see respect. You're not calling me a different pronoun. You're just not using pronouns in general.
right. And
Um,
I think that comes like those things, different experience, like and doing those ways, like just kind of again try to find a neutral place. Again, if you're not sure, you're not uncomfortable, just find a place where again common ground can be met a little bit. I think I think that at the same time, I think there also has to be a reverse when it does come to the ally way, because again, like, just even with the facts, it was like do's and don'ts for straight people. I also think that there should be do's and don'ts, what I'm saying, for the LGBT community as well, because a lot of times I think, like, I've been in the places where it's been, and again, I don't know if that just comes from a place because, as a heterosexual, like, they don't know how, again, like you said before, they don't know how I'm going to react. So then it gets a little weird where it's like, okay, I'm trying to be a pro that, but I can kind of tell you can have to feel if people are hesitant, like, even if something agrees, you can kind of tell when people are like, what I mean? Like, because, not really, I guess, knowing how I might react. Because again, I know some people really, all the things, it's like we talk, we got to do for even when you talk about a title, want to pray the gay way immediately and all these things. I understand, like, not being the place again if you don't know me, like, first reaction, and of course I get it from, a lot of, like, typically presented men, you kind of get that, of course, where I have more masculine, like, where I'm just like, hey, but sometimes I also feel like I gotta kind of just sell it even more, like, even be like, even more so to kind of really be like, Ally over here, or, says no, says no, says this
Yeah.
better, what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
those
I
kind of
mean,
things.
I definitely think that, like, I wish that it's hard because I get that people are more defensive or like waiting for you to, like, if you are cis and hetero, waiting for you to like say something like offensive. And
Mhm.
but I get it, because I get that. I wish that that wasn't the case, but it is the case from the, like, not from everybody obviously, but like a lot of people. And I have even been like, my defenses are up already
Yeah,
with
right,
like people who are heterosexual, just because it's like that comes from years and decades and even
right,
way before we were born, of like hurt and entrapment and treated as an other and treated as wrong and treated
right,
as something to pray the gay away, or to like, or to medically like give a
right, right,
medicine to numb them to not be that, or get operations or this and that. So it's like there's already that wall up because there's so much history of pain
right,
and
right.
treated differently. And so I get it. I wish it wasn't that way, but I get while it is. Like, so it's
Right,
like,
and I'm the exact same way. So that's why I never take it like on a personal level, but so that's why I just try to, again, more than anything, just try to just again show more so, like, hey, like, care, kind of care less, and I'm just
yeah,
again interested in, with the conversation, or again, what I mean, like, and I think of course I always think I do really well with that, because again, I mean, I do have people in the community, I mean, in that community who I'm great friends with, what I mean, family members and all, in between too. So I do think I do it well, in that. Um, and then I think too, as far as, when it does come with, possibly meeting people, because again, I get why you need to be on the defense, but I also think that there should be opportunities for learning and understanding on both sides. And just because, again, like, I wanted to just mention that again, like, just because it might be, well, you might even meet somebody who, again, might, versus this thing or that thing, disagree, but I don't think it should just be immediately, well, because again, like the same thing, just because I might disagree with one thing, then again, I mean, it comes to that too. I'm seen as, uh,
the bad guy.
homophobic in that way. And it's like, not that.
Yeah,
I might not agree with this particular, thing, but that doesn't make me a completely bad person. I just, and I think it should be where communication can be open to, well, this is what I believe, this is what I believe, and just like anything that we have differences on, we can kind of agree to literally disagree without feeling like, okay, now I hate, all like hetero
yeah,
people who don't, are now I hate, this, that, and third. Now again, if people are disrespecting you, then look, don't tolerate no
right,
disrespect. You know what I mean?
right.
Don't, right.
Period.
Don't tolerate, you don't tolerate disrespect at all. You know what I mean? I definitely believe that.
Yes,
But I think we should definitely be able to get to places, of course, where we can have dialogue and say, okay, well, again, if anything, at the end of the day, if I believe in the human rights, then, like I said, all those other things is true, because at the end of the day, if we never get to where we can agree on the thing, at the end of the day, you still got to live, and you should be able to live, and you should be able to love without anybody, harming you or hurting you, or, of course,
be
making you
different.
feel, what I'm saying, less than or
Yeah,
inferior in any way. Because at the end of the day, like, we regardless of what you say, like, God all gave us free will. At the end of the day, that is a gift from God. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, we have to respect that everybody has free will. Everybody has, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness all day
yeah,
long. You can't take that away just because of a personal belief. Like, because at the end of the day, you ain't going home with her. You know what I mean? You not going home with her.
It's
You ain't
true.
got to be with her. You ain't. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I think every community has things that they disagree on, and I think that there are things within the LGBTQ community that like we disagree on, and that's okay. But I think as long at like my only point, and then we'll move on a little bit, is that I hope everyone on earth, which I know this isn't achieved yet, but I hope that we at least see during our lifetime that everyone on earth agrees that people should be allowed to love who they want above a certain age range, of course, but love who they want, and and that's it.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
and it's cool. Like, it does not matter. And yeah, and I just hope that would be it. But I also feel like I do understand the like I do see you LGBTQ fellow here of putting them dukes up immediately, and I feel like I have to like I feel like I do shove the gay down people's throats of like that I am, because it also took me so long to come out, and
Mhm.
I had a lot of instances growing up where it did feel unsafe to like be who I am.
Yeah, I
And
think that sucks for anybody. You know what I mean? And because I mean, those fears,
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's so real to think about. Like, depending on how you feel about you or inside, to know like my family might disown me and crazy. You know what I mean? Like I mean,
Mhm.
it's so wild. I mean, where you got people who are literally murderers and their family will stick beside them. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
To the end.
Well, now they'll deny. They'll be like, they would have never done this, and I guess
Right, they were right.
they
They right,
did
right.
lie
They would have
too.
never. Like, you know what I
But
mean?
yeah, I mean, I remember like in middle
Hey, what's
school.
going on? Say what's up, y'all? House of the
Hello. Um, do what? What'd
I'll
you
try to
say?
read. I'll try to read that name. Butchering it. Sorry.
Lauren Marie.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Um. And you definitely don't know this story. Um. Y'all both don't. I don't know who knows this story, but anyways, I want to tell this really quick, and then I want to move on.
Okay.
But there's also like someone that I grew up with that like I started dating someone, and then I told them like, hey, don't tell nobody, and then because I didn't want people to find out, and then people did find out. I know that was toxic of me, but also I was 12, so give me just a little bit of grace. I've learned since then. And um and then I like got bullied for like being a lesbian in middle school about it. And that's for my own peers. So thankfully, like a lot of schools have changed now where that's not as big of a thing for getting bullied as it used to be. It's kind of more celebrated, and but it depends on where you are and how your
Mhm.
school is and what friend groups you're in. But it definitely is better than how it was when we were growing up.
Right.
Um,
And I was too, like, with us being in the South, things are a little bit different. I'm sure it may be different for guys that may be in different areas. But of course, with like the South kind of being traditionally like the Bible Belt kind of a
mhm.
thing, I think that those issues and difficulties like arise maybe a little bit more here than
Right.
like maybe places like, I guess, where it's more tolerant, Atlanta or it was like San Francisco, I think is like, really good
Yeah, New
population
York and
there.
San Francisco are like
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
top ones. Yeah, on that, I do want to do a video because I found out a lot of information while I was looking up this that Atlanta's a lot gayer than we think it is. So we'll put a pin in that and we'll come back to it, okay? Because Atlanta is one with the flag, okay?
Yeah.
Um, but so
That's
yeah,
what time
so
I'm getting bit up and sacrificed for y'all.
we we thank you for a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit of
yeah, yeah.
sacrifice for the
Yeah.
LGBTQ community. Oh my god. So I'm just gonna go through these things really quickly because we have like about 15 minutes to wrap her on up. So um there was so like the first known homosexual person, first known gay man, was dating back to 2400 BCE, but they said obviously it's probably way before then, they just didn't document as much then. But this person was buried in a gesture that was like kissing another man, and this is usually um uh how women are so how women are were buried back in that time, and it was with the man. Now that could have been, they documented as gay, could have been a trans person, could have been gay, who knows, but the way that they were buried said something about their sexuality and also their gender. So I don't know which way it went, but I thought that was interesting. Because I was also looking up the first ally, and this all these were saying that the first ally was in 1988, which I know was not true.
What,
Um,
1988? What's that?
but then I did find a lot of people that they were like, these are all the allies of the LGBTQ community, and most of them were already a part of the LGBTQ community. Like they were either gay or pan or bi or whatever,
Oh.
or lesbian
But
or
I sure
whatever.
hope there was more allies before 1988. God.
Right. Like some of them
Like,
were like closeted, like, but they were acting like they were hetero their whole lives, so they were acting like an ally when they were really just part of the community.
oh,
Um, but
that makes
um,
sense.
but I guess I mean they're still part of the community. They're still like allies are part of the community, and gay allies are also part of the community, because you could also be gay and not root for your own team, you know? So, yeah. But Concord Academy, they in 1988, Meredith Sterling and Kevin Jennings formed the first gay straight alliance. So Jennings, who had, the teacher who had come out as gay, and Meredith Sterling, one of Jennings was one of the or they yeah. So, along with other teachers, established this alliance to combat homophobia and advocate for policy changes. So that's great. We love
Is
it.
this is still active?
Um, yeah,
Yes. Okay.
yeah. And then one of the first celebrities, I'm about to get into some current celebrities, but one of the first celebrities that we know of today, that was a straight cis woman, who is an activist for the LGBTQ, or was before she passed, was an activist for the LGBTQ community, is actor and model Elizabeth Taylor. So she first spoke out about the AIDS crisis in the 1980s and 1990s. She co-founded the AMFAR, which is a foundation for AIDS research, and established the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation. She raised millions of dollars for research, treatment, care, advocated for social justice and human rights for those living with HIV and AIDS. On the HIV and AIDS uh, epidemic, that was not taken seriously and given care and funding to be cured, until there were straight individuals who got it. They thought it was just a gay disease, and that was not the case. Once there was records of people who were heterosexual who did um, uh, what am detect the disease, not detect, I'm
Yeah.
thinking of another word,
Contracted,
contract.
contracted. Yeah, contract. Yeah.
Yeah. Then there was funding for that. But right now, some icons who are LGBTQ allies are Beyonce, Madonna, Macklemore. Macklemore had a song called Same Love.
Mhm.
Madonna, and to like celebrate the gay marriage being approved now, I guess. Not approved, but you know what I mean, like in
Yeah, yeah.
law, like the law to overturn and make it legal. And then both Madonna and Beyonce have spoken up for the LGBTQ community, have a lot of fans there, and have given money to the community. And then there's many other artists that are as well. But those are just some that I wanted to shout out. Um, and then I have a lot more information for you, that will come later, because a lot of the people that were seen as straight allies were not so straight, but still allies. And we'll talk about them later. And then also, I did want to shout out the founder of AARP, Ethel Percy Andrus. Um, you never know. Some people might have just pretended to be straight their whole life, but from everything I've gathered about her, she's believed to be straight. And she also said, "What we do for all." So AARP, will like put out LGBTQ history videos, and she was always a big advocate of treating people equally and doing things for all people. So everything I found on her was great. And then yeah, I like I said, I have a lot more for you at another
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
But there's my spiel.
Yeah.
What do you think, you?
I think that those are like great things, and it's good to know like people who had those certain platforms. 'Cause I know again, I mean, especially like during time, you know what I mean, like and I know that again, it just goes earlier, really. I mean, especially really earlier. I think with a lot of those celebrities, like I think about what's her name? Like Patti LaBelle. Like in the '80s, had like a really great, following. Because again, like back in the '80s and stuff like that, in the '70s, it was really underground. But you got you know, artists like I think about like Little Richard and stuff. A lot of artists who even get men who are a little bit kind of more flamboyant in that way, kind of breaking those boundaries. I mean,
Mhm.
even though it's never been really documented about Prince, but again, Prince always had a very, kind of flamboyant appeal to himself, and kind of popularized, you know, that in a major way. I think so. It was really good for people to have those platforms and take those stances. For people like defranchised communities. That's the word we're looking for.
Yeah. Well,
Disenfranchised communities. Excuse
I
me.
I don't know which word you're looking for, but yes, there's a lot of speculation on who they love, and there's actually a poet and a writer and activist that I have on my list that was married to a man for 14 years, I think it said, but she was always a lesbian. She actually created a lesbian community that I'll get into and tell specifics of later. So I was going to share about her as well, but we'll share her when we get to who is a part of the community who's been fighting for the community, whether they came out later or came out at all, or it's questioned, whatever. But I did want to shout out the nat the first national march on Washington for lesbian and gay rights took place on October 14th, 1979, with about 100,000 participants. I'm sure there's a lot of straight allies who went there and helped. I would definitely hope so. So if you know anyone that went to that rally, whether they are whether they're gay or straight or whatever, I don't care. If you know anyone that went to the first National March on Washington for lesbian and gay rights in 1979, please let us know. We would love to have them on the show.
Yeah,
And
right.
even
That'd be
if
so
they,
dope.
yeah, even if they didn't want
Yeah.
to be on the show and they would just be willing to talk to us, I would love to hear from them and learn
Mhm.
from them and understand firsthand how that was in real time.
Absolutely, right. Like I said, especially during that time. I mean, I know that had to be pivotal because, again, I mean, it was
Yeah.
definitely still kind of like hush hush, not talked about. You know what I mean? All those things during that time. So, which is, of
Yeah,
course, a whole
almost
lot better than
46 years ago, but very a long time ago when it comes down to rights and how people are treated
right,
and who's accepted and stuff.
right,
So,
right. A really good time, really. Because I mean, that was before a lot of the things that we get into the '80s and '90s where it really kind of started, coming a little bit more out and open, and those kind of things. So,
yeah, and laws actually started to get changed then, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, and then as always, shout out to um uh Baynard Rustin's grandma, because
Yeah, yeah,
she
yeah.
I I don't know if y'all saw that episode, but or Bayard. I knew I was saying it wrong. Bayard Rustin, not Baynard. Bayard Rustin's grandma, who in the early 1900s, early to to 19 teens. You gotta check the episode to see the dates because I said it in the episode.
Yeah, yeah.
But she was just like, I guess that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
When he
yeah.
came after her, he's like, that's fine. Who cares? I'm chilling. We're cool.
Mhm.
And then they both actually led a lot of the initial changes for the
Mhm.
LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
So shout out to
Right,
y'all.
right.
Um,
And of course, it made. I think the episode was. I think that um, I can't remember what the episode actually was on, but I do know that again. That
it
person
was
Vader made.
it was one of our Black History
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
episodes
say. Right, that's what I
from
was gonna. Yeah, yeah. I
not
knew. I thought
this
it was.
from 2024,
Yeah,
February
that's what I thought it
2024.
was. Right. So did major things for both communities, black community too, because he did a lot of stuff in civil
Yeah,
rights. Kind of what he's mainly known for, right? Was why we talked about him, because
yeah,
he was marched next to Martin Luther King
yeah.
and those kind of
Heavily
things. So
involved on the march
heavily,
on
right?
Washington, like
Yes, heavily. I think
heavily involved.
I think organized. Like he was one of the
Organized it,
organized it.
did
Yeah.
so much for it. Like I think they helped found from what I remember NAACP. Like they like did a lot for that. They did so much. I
Hmm.
can't even. I just don't want to end up misquoting anything,
Right.
but
Right.
they
Yeah.
did
But
so
definitely go back.
much.
Definitely go back for sure. Check it out.
Yeah, for all communities. They were allies for either allies or participants, but still fighting for communities who have been mistreated and fighting for their equality. So, shout out to both of them. Love
Yes.
them over here.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
hmm And then, Lauren, do you have any questions for us? Not to put you on the spot, but we have a last few minutes, so if you don't have any questions, that's fine.
All right.
But I know you knew me before I was outwardly this gay, so I'd love to know if you had any questions. Um, and yeah, hopefully you're gonna be there in a few weeks because my high school reunion's coming up. So,
Yo, what's coming up?
woo! My high school reunion.
Oh yeah, yes. Absolutely,
Yeah,
yes. It's so crazy.
yeah,
It's finally here. You've been talking about it for a while, so it's like
I know.
you've been getting playing with last year. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited and nervous. And then for y'all that don't know, I have been on a medical vacuum. I had surgery. I'm not going to get into details, but I had surgery. There were complications, not of my own. But I get off of it in real time tomorrow. When this episode comes out, I'll already be off of it. But
Yes. So
in real
happy.
time for when this live happened. I get off of it tomorrow. And then
Yes.
I'll have to get back on after my second surgery, but I at least get a break for a second.
Hmm. Yes.
Um, yeah.
And that's cool. And I think you have another episode where we'll talk all about it and bring
Yeah.
them in, you guys. Because I know, we've been doing really good. I guess like keeping things like Dallas, which I don't even, it's been a long time.
I
Like,
know. I know.
yeah,
Like my first surgery was April 1st, y'all. So
yeah. So yeah, yeah. So.
long time ago. But when I can get into it, I will get into it. So I don't know when that will be, but I'll let you
Mhm.
know.
Yes.
Um, okay. Well, cool. I have so many things for other episodes that I want to talk to you about immediately because I came up
Yes.
with a lot of other things I want to talk about and a lot
Okay.
more facts that I found for different subjects. But shout out to all you LGBTQ movement
Yes.
because we love
Yes.
you.
Yes.
And then shout out to all you straight allies who are still fighting for people to just love each other freely.
Yeah.
And I
Absolutely.
appreciate
Absolutely.
you.
Salute to you all. Keep the love going.
Yeah.
'Cause that's the only way we can combat all of this because with each other, like I think I said in past episodes, I said forever, like we need each other. Like you like I said, differences can be whatever, because again, we're not all supposed to be the same, and we all should have different thoughts and different ideas and different viewpoints. I mean, that's what makes us unique, and that's what makes us a great society because we bring in our different ideas and our different life experience to really build all the things that we literally have in front of us, and so we need each other. We need each other, fighting with, together, one accord. And I mean, again, the more love we have across the board, more love across the world we could really have, and not being divided just because we have differences. And I
Yeah,
think that's like the kind of the best statement. I think of that. Like we don't have to be divided because we have differences.
for
You know.
sure.
And I'm not
For
saying you
sure.
gotta go. I'm not saying you don't say you gotta go to a parade. Even though they look pretty dope, you know what I mean. But I'm not saying you gotta go to a parade, but you can still be cordial and and love and
Yeah.
be understanding. Even if you don't completely understand.
Yeah.
But
And whether you agree with something personally, we should all agree that um, the the government shouldn't be in charge of our relationships. So
yeah, okay, yeah, yeah, I think that's a good one to say. Absolutely, absolutely, I can agree with that.
or our
Like,
bodies, relationships or
golly,
bodies.
I think
Bye.
historically
So
we would have got over that by now. Sheesh.
right, it's like going backwards. But
Right, but here
anyway,
we are, and I get it during these times too, because again, we are facing a lot of DI things, and again, and I've
mhm,
been seeing things across people who are going to advocate for it, against it, and seeing the arguments of both. But and I don't know. I mean, of course, a lot of people have already kind of lost jobs and stuff, so this is kind of the beginning. So we don't know, how things may regress. But again, I think if we just love one another despite what they say, because again, despite what the government can say, again, who you can love and be allies to, and those kind of things, and so again, like this might be times where we need each other, probably, more, and
mhm,
support each other again. So for people who lost jobs, and an ally reach out and say, okay, we love to have you over here, and the same thing. 'Cause again, it doesn't have to be about LGBT, but a lot of of course, blacks are losing jobs, and Hispanics, and all these things too. So we need allies
yeah,
across the board.
yeah.
You know,
Ally isn't just a thing that is LGBTQ only.
right?
So yeah, let's keep on fighting for each other
Mm-hmm.
and keep on keeping on to make this world a better place than how we found it. So
Absolutely,
yeah, and this
absolutely.
will be up on YouTube and Spotify and Apple and all that jazz. I won't put a timeline on it because whenever we do, it takes way longer because things just start falling.
Every
Like
time.
it's not our fault, but things just start happening right after we jinx ourselves. So,
Right, right. That's some facts. Like I'm gonna stop saying stuff. We been a pack. We gotta stop saying stuff on podcasts,
I know, but
and I
at
hate
some
that life.
point, it will be on those. So, cool. Be on the lookout. And then let us know if you have anything to share about yourself or others or whatever. You have any fun facts to talk about different allies, even if it's not a famous person, if it's someone in your life who has been an ally, please shout them out in the comments. And
Yeah,
we love y'all. We thank you.
absolutely.
And then anything you have to add, Q, before we try to say another thing at the same time?
No, no, everything's good. Well, it's all love here. You know what I'm saying? Happy Pride Month. Enjoy yourselves, have a good time,
Yeah.
all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Parties
really
all
what I
year
got, man.
long.
Yeah, of course, all the things, of course, the home, homework, but business stuff, like, subscribe. Again, the best thing to do is if you do have somebody in the LGBT community, or again, an ally, just share this video with them. Actually,
Yeah. Share this
yeah,
with them. Share
yeah,
any of our other videos. Like, share anything with anyone, whether you love, hate, or just tolerate them.
yeah.
Share it with them, please. We appreciate you. And you ready?
Almost. I'm gonna just kind of end it one more time, just in case that was the mess up at the beginning. So I'm gonna just kind of end with, by the way, I'm Prodigy Q.
Oh, and I'm Amanda Ellibird.
And this is my episode talking shit.
ACL.
Thank you for that. See
Right.
that working?
We're just finishing each other's sentences. That's cool.
Yeah. And my brother just
And
joined in, but we got to sign out, bro. So you got to check the highlight reels. But
yeah,
yeah,
if you
yeah,
haven't actually watched our episodes, then you don't know. This is how we sign out every single episode. So,
absolutely. Okay.
okay.
Yeah, you gonna do it
All right.
again?
Love you. Oh,
Ooh, okay.
love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
I'm just gonna count it down that time again.
Oh, sorry. Okay, wait. Hold on. Let's try it one more time.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Love
Okay.
you.
Love you. That
Bye.
was worse than the first.
Right, it
Okay, love
was.
you.
I love y'all, man.
Yeah, that's true. Me and City Lou love you.
It's out.
Okay.